Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm doing a series on what does God have to say about community, and if you missed last week's video, then that is totally okay, but I'm gonna link it like right up here. So I don't really know how this whole thing works, but if I do it right, it should be like somewhere up here. And I just kind of talked with you guys about what does God have to say about community from the lens of how Jesus is a friend to us. And in this video, I'm going to just talk about how we can be a friend to Jesus. And I would honestly say, guys, that the most important thing would have to be making the time for him. Like, that's any friendship. If you want to be good friends with someone and you label someone like your best friend, it's because you do life with them. You tell them everything, you listen to everything they have to say, and you just do life with them. You show up. If they call you, you pick up the phone and you answer, and then you have to make the choice to go meet them wherever you guys say that you're gonna go like meet to hang out, and be present and be available. And that's the same with Jesus. Like, he is calling us all the time, but not in like an annoying friend way where you don't want to hang out with him, but no, like, he's the creator of the universe and it's God, and so you do want to hang out with him. But he's always calling and he always wants to hang out, and it's on you guys, it's on us to reciprocate that, to reach back out and be like, oh, like, God, I know you're calling out to me, and here, I'm available, I'm listening, and I want to meet up with you too, you know? So just like any friendship. Amos 3:3 says, do two walk together unless they have agreed to do so? Like, you have to agree to hang out with your friend, they agree to hang out with you, and then you guys hang out with each other. Same with Jesus. And there's a biblical principle in the Bible about tithing, and when it comes to tithing, that's usually pertaining to your finances. So we keep 90% and then we give God back 10%, and that's, like I said, that's pertaining to money. But I do that with my time too. Like, okay, God, you've given me 24 hours in a day, so I'm gonna wake up and give you the beginning of my day. I'm gonna give you my mornings. And so honestly, y'all, sometimes I'm not the best at it, but I do try, and I'll get up even if I can't get the full 10% of my day. So like, what, 2.5 hours or something in the morning, I still try, and even if it's just 1 hour, 30 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is that I can get at least the beginning thought of my day to be Jesus, because the world is crazy and so much goes into the days and people are needing us all the time. And so it's so important to get equipped and get filled with the presence of God before you go about your day. And so, yeah, so I'll just give him my mornings, I'll give him my nights before I go to sleep, and just making sure I'm really making it a priority in my life to give him my time. And then also just the fact that I woke up in the morning is a gift from God. And so there's a verse that says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving present your requests to God. Philippians 4:6. And then you just listen for God's voice. So, hey God, thank you so much for even waking me up this morning. That's a gift, and I'm blessed and I'm thankful for that. I pray over this day, over what you have in store for me, and I just ask God that you would be with me, that you'd give me peace, and whatever else that I feel like I need to pray for that day, and then I get still and I listen. So, yeah. Also, in order to experience intimacy with God, guys, you have to do away with the distractions, and I think that this could look like a lot of things, either in our friendships. Like, sometimes we gotta take a step back from our friends and be like, look guys, I gotta get alone with God. I have to just go, I have to pray, I have to read my Bible, and just hear what God has to say, and just kind of put our friendships on hold. They're still gonna be there, your friends are still gonna be your friends. If you decide that you have to take that hour that they wanted to hang out and be like, I haven't gotten with God today yet, and it's really important. And so to just set that boundary in place. And we see this with Jesus too. Like, he had 12 of his disciples, and even still he would constantly be like, okay guys, I have to go and I have to pray to my Father. And so he would leave and remove himself from his friends and go and get alone with God. How much more do we have to do that if Jesus had to do that and modeled it for us? Another big distraction is our phones. Like, for me, there is nothing more distracting than when I'm trying to get alone with God. I'm trying to be still and just listen to what God has to say to me, and then a notification goes off on my phone, and all of a sudden, like, I just snap out of my like closeness and intimacy with God because I'm so focused on what, I don't even know, it could be like nothing, like iPhone update settings, but it just triggers me to lose my focus and lose my train of thought, and just that quiet time that I've been having with God. There's really no information more important than whatever it is that the Father has to say to you. Like, no one has anything more important to say, no more important information to give to you. And then another thing that can be really distracting from sitting there and just being in a friendship with God is our thoughts. Like, think about it in your normal friendships. Like, if you're sitting there and your friend is trying to talk to you and share life with you, and you're sitting there thinking about all these random things, and then they ask you, oh, so what did you think about that? And then you don't know how to answer because you're like, sorry, I wasn't listening. Like, that's not being a good friend to someone when you're so caught up in your own thoughts and what you have to get done that you can't even focus on what your friend is trying to tell you. And with God, that happens all the time, where we're so swarmed with our own thoughts and our own ideas that we forget that God is speaking. And there's a verse in 2 Corinthians 10:5 that says, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. So have your mind be stilled, because you can't hear the gentle whisper voice of God if the voice of the world is loudest in your mind. And then also come up with different ways to hang out with Jesus. Like, when I'm in my friendships, I don't hang out with them the same way every single day. Sometimes we'll go to a coffee shop, maybe a movie, maybe the mall, maybe just come over to my house and hang out with me. Like, there's not always the same like formula for how we hang out. We just hang out. And that's the same with God. Find what you're passionate about, find what you love doing, and just do it with the Lord. And so I wanted to show you guys a couple ways that I hang out with God. And one could be listening to worship music. So either listen to some worship songs. Some good artists are Maverick City, they're amazing. Elevation Worship, Hillsong. And so you can either listen to them, or you could write your own worship song. For my creative people out there, unfortunately that's not me, but if it's you, yeah, just sit and like write songs to God. And then another thing is to journal. So I'm actually so excited. So this is one of my journals, and in this one I just kind of like write, I guess, like write my thoughts or write my prayers. And yeah, it's just straight up, straightforward, like, dear God, this was my day, this sucked, okay, love you, bye, or whatever it might be. Guys, it's really sweet, sorry. It's just really sweet to look back on your journal and be like, wow, God, I don't even remember that I prayed that, but now I get to look back and see, like, you answered me, you cared. Okay, anyways, getting a little emotional here. So yeah, so I journaled like that, and then these are some of my old journals that I've actually filled up. Oh, another one, I think there's more in the other room, over 3 years of walking with Jesus. And then this is one that I'm actually so excited about. Okay, so like I was talking about earlier, how I had like this formula, and I would pray, and then I would write down my prayers and journal, and that's what I would do in the journals I just showed you. But recently I've been like, okay, God, if I'm being honest, I'm a little bored in my quiet time with you. Like, what can I do that's like fun? Like, what can I do that I enjoy doing to talk to you? Okay, y'all, this is my other journal that I got. And I don't know if you can even read that, but it says enjoy life. Can you? It's like whatever. Okay, enjoy life. And okay, so this is the front of it. And so I just like painted it, and then put stickers, and it says like prayer journal. And then, so I just started it, and then this is the first page. So it's just like a fun way to journal. So like, I was reading in Numbers 11, and it talked about how when the people cried out to Moses, he then prayed to the Lord, and the fire died down. And then it goes on to talk about how Moses, it says, now Moses was a very humble man, more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. That's Numbers 12:3. And I was just like, wow, like the most humble man in all of the earth. And, oh, and then it says like, Moses is faithful in all my house. With him I speak face to face, clearly, and not in ridicules. That's not a word. Not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. And then I would just pray like, God, I pray for humility, and that you just like keep me humble, remind me that it's not about me, it's about you, and whatever. So I'd go and like I'd write my prayers, and then I use gift wrap, and I made like a little fire, and like, I don't know, it's just so fun. So but that's fun for me. That might not be fun for you. So find what you're passionate about, find what's fun for you, and go do that with God. Another way to sit and be a friend of Jesus is to watch sermons. So I'll watch sermons. A pastor I really love is Michael Todd. So if you go to YouTube and you just type in Michael Todd, I really love him. I know there's some other good pastors like Stephen Furtick and Rich Wilkerson Jr. I don't really watch them, but yeah, those are just a couple pastors if you're looking for, some people to watch. And yeah, and then I'll just take notes on like the sermon that I watched. So yeah, so I'll do that. I'll watch sermons and then I'll take notes. I'm also starting a Bible study, and so that's how I'll spend time with God, and that will be with a community of other women. And this is just on confidence in who God says you are, and it's a mother-daughter Bible study that I'm doing with my mom. And so there's that. Get plugged into a Bible study, and then just talk about the Lord, and where 2 or 3 are gathered in His name, He's there. So there you have it. And then you can also read, and so I'm trying to do this more too. At nights before I go to bed, I want to start my mornings in the Bible, and then at night I'll like read something in the Bible, but then really end up falling asleep rather than looking at my phone or whatever by reading. And so I'm just finishing this book, which is Counterfeit Gods, and that's basically just about how there's so much in our life that's idolatry and the empty promises of money, sex, and power, and the only hope that matters. So this was really good. And then my friend gifted me with this book, Michael Todd. He's the pastor, I told you guys. He's really good. And this is on relationship goals. So I haven't started it yet, but I'm so excited. And yeah, so reading is another great way to talk to God. And then I was FaceTiming a friend last night, and she was talking about how she would go on dates with the Lord, and she would just go and maybe like go on a walk or go set up a blanket, maybe like make a picnic or whatever, and just go and sit with God and talk to Him and set apart that time, because it's very different seeing someone you know frequently or running into them and being like, hey, how's your day? It's so good to see you. Let's catch up, whatever, or seeing them in passing versus being like, okay, we're going to set up Friday night. We're going to go and get dinner and go hang out because I miss you. And that's very different from just seeing them in passing. So that's also a way that you could go and just be with God. Make a little date appointment with Him. And yeah, it doesn't have to be this boring, forced task where it's like, okay, I have to go spend time with God now because it's been a few days and I haven't yet. Or something not fun that you just really don't want to go do. But it could be enjoyable. I mean, yeah, there's a discipline in your relationship with God, but I think there's a discipline in anything worth fighting for. And discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. If you want to be closer to God, then you do have to put in the effort. It's something you do have to try at. You have to show up, be available, make it happen. And I do know that God is faithful to meet you right there too. But you don't just get to be like, oh, well, I don't really feel like hanging out with God. I don't really feel like talking to God. So I'll just do it when I'm ready, because we can't trust our feelings. But that's a different video. So yeah. I hope that this helped you to grow deeper in your walk with Christ and just encouraged you to go and just sit with Him and to be His friend. And I also want to just encourage you guys to have grace with yourself, to have patience to wait on the Lord, because He is faithful to show up. I know that He'll meet you right where you're at if you just call out to Him and meet up with Him. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye!